The need to support the just energy transition is a priority, and so is the relationship between the mining sector as well as the power sector. For more, we are joined by Rentia. Rentia, thank you so much for your time. So let's reflect back on the panel discussion and the session that you had. What were some of the key takeaways from that?
Thank you, Jan. Thanks for having me. I think it's very important to understand the complexity and the urgency to find solutions that are flexible and that are balanced in the current environment, especially if you look at the various countries and opportunities that we sit with. So although the discussion was around different technologies or minerals and how do we support that, whether it's coal technology, nuclear technology or renewables, it was important to acknowledge the need for baseload energy. And also, how do we build in flexible opportunities for the mining sector?
Let's talk about how Standard Bank views the power sector going forward. And I suppose let's talk about where we are right now.
It's a very important driver for economic growth on this continent, and we cannot walk away from the fact that, in every country we operate in, which is more than 20 present countries in Africa, the mining sector is a key driver, and to ensure that we have continued growth and development, the power sector and the energy needs remain important. So when we look at solutions for our clients, it's not only funding solutions, it's how do we support a balanced drive in terms of funding, flexibility, and sustainable supply. So many mining companies and clients do not have the ability to have grid power and grid access. So when you look at off-grid, CNI, behind the meter type of solutions, you need to ensure that you have flexible technologies and funding instruments. And what we see more and more is the drive towards aggregators and trading in an environment where we still wait for grid development.
With that said, what is the future outlook for the power sector, especially on the continent?
One would like to believe that, we will see more cleaner energies being introduced, but I think the reality is that it is not always that simple, especially if you need solutions for baseload energy. So in countries where you have rich coal endowments, you will still continue to have that. But the introduction of renewable energy is becoming more and more of a theme. And it's driven by not only decarbonization, CBAM commitments, but it is currently the cheapest level of electricity that you can generate. However, you have to find ways to add battery energy storage and do that at scale. And I think that is where we see increased development and interest from various entities to work around funding solutions to be able to fast track that.
I mentioned in my intro that there's a very strong relationship between the mining sector as well as the power sector. If we are to imagine what future-proofing the mining sector has to look like alongside the power sector, what does that look like for you?
I think if you talk about the links between energy and mining, you can't get it around the fact that all the critical minerals that's actually going into the energy transition type facilities and technologies are from critical minerals. So it's so interlinked, and that is exactly what we as a bank has identified as a key focus. And in order to ensure that you keep on the development and sustainable development of those mines expansions, you need to look not only at the powering of the mines, but also sustainable connections in new grid developments. And I think some of that has been lacking. Just if you look at the DRC Zambia corridor or through Angola into various other opportunities. And where we see these type of challenges, one need to look at how do you fast track not only the development, the timelines. We know developing infrastructure projects on the continent take quite long. But at the same time, you can't develop a mine and don't have power to be able to execute on that or get it operational in time. So one of the opportunities we've been looking at is, like I mentioned before, power trading. And how do you, through an aggregation, find distributed power in certain regions and have the ability to feed that into mini grids or behind the meter type of solutions to mining companies.
Building on that, are you seeing traction with that as some of the solutions that you're seeing?
Yeah, I think a very good example is what we've seen not only in South Africa in the market opening up. We've seen a significant drive from mining companies looking at bilateral agreements with IPPs, using wheeled energy to service decarbonisation drives through renewable power. At the same time, the registration and approvals of new traders in South Africa. And I think that has led to, a need to fast track the developments of the market codes, which is critical in terms of a new liberalised market. And if you look just wider than South Africa, what we've seen in Zambia, we've had significant droughts, load shedding up to 18 hours a day. Mining sector definitely suffering from that, and we've done recently a really excellent transaction with a trader called Greenco, where we've seen how we can find innovative solutions in finding better ways to support the mines in a sustainable manner for power supply.
Rentia, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
For more insights, you can go to miningindaba.com.